I woke up to sunlight stabbing through the blinds and the faint buzz of my phone on the nightstand. I rubbed my eyes, unlocked the screen, and opened Instagram out of habit. That's when I saw it. My family smiling under a blinding Greek sun. Family time, my mom's caption read, 3 heart emojis lined up perfectly. I blinked, scrolled again. There was another photo, my dad holding a drink, Liam surfing, Emily in a sundress. The words below burned. Finally, all of us together. All of us. My throat tightened. I kept scrolling. Pool photos, dinner selfies, even a group video where everyone shouted, "Cheers to family!" My own last photo was 3 weeks old, me eating ramen in the dorm. I whispered, "What the hell?" I checked the dates. Posted 3 days ago. They'd been there 3 days. Nobody said a word. Not one text. I dialed Mom. She answered on the 3rd ring. "Ethan, everything okay?" "Yeah," I said flatly. "Just saw your vacation posts." "Oh, those. Beautiful, right?" "Yeah." "Real nice. When did you plan it?" She hesitated. "Oh, it was kind of last minute. Your dad got time off and we just went for it." "You didn't think to tell me?" "We thought you were busy, sweetheart. College and all that." "Busy?" I laughed bitterly. "You went to Greece without me." She sighed. "Don't make it sound like that. It wasn't intentional." "It feels intentional." "Ethan, we didn't want to bother you. You always seem what?" "Distant." My chest tightened. "You ever think maybe I'm distant because you never include me?" She went quiet, then said softly, "We'll talk when we get back, okay? Don't overthink it." Click. The line went dead. I stared at my reflection in the phone screen. I looked fine, normal, but inside I was burning. I opened the story again, my father laughing in a beach chair, Liam doing backflips into the pool, Emily filming everything, tagging everyone except me. I sent her a message. "Did you forget someone?" The little scene mark appeared. No reply. I threw the phone onto the bed and sank beside it. My chest felt hollow, like someone had scooped something vital out of me. The door creaked open. "You alive?" Noah's voice drifted in, lazy as usual. Barely. He stepped in, holding cereal. "You look like someone died." "Something did." I pointed at the phone. "My family's on vacation, Greece." He frowned. "And?" "Without me." He blinked. "Wait, what?" I handed him the phone. He scrolled, eyes widening. "Bro, that's cold. You sure they didn't tell you?" I checked every message. Nothing. Maybe they forgot? They remembered each other. He set the phone down gently. Damn. I pressed my palms into my eyes. I don't even know why it hurts this much. It's just confirmation. I've always been the extra piece. "You're not," he said. "They just suck at showing up." I used to think I was the problem. Quiet, too reserved, too much in my head. But they never even noticed when I stopped coming to family dinners. Noah sat beside me. "You gonna call them out?" I tried. Mom brushed it off. "Don't overthink it," she said, like I'm making it up. He nodded slowly. "Classic gaslight package." I laughed dryly. "Yeah, comes with guilt and silence." A notification popped on my screen. Emily had posted another story, her and Liam laughing on a boat. Caption, "Wouldn't trade this for anything." No tag, no mention, just perfect symmetry. My voice cracked. They don't even realize how cruel it is. Noah looked at me. "So what now?" "I don't know. You could go off the grid, delete them, and pretend I don't care?" He shrugged. "Sometimes pretending is the only way to survive." I leaned back. Maybe. Another buzz, Ava's name. I answered immediately. "Hey, you sound terrible," she said. "What happened?" "My family went on vacation." "Okay." "Without me." Silence. Then, "You're kidding." "Nope." Saw it all on Instagram, like a live broadcast of rejection. Oh my God, Ethan, I could almost hear her pacing. What did your mom say? She said they thought I was busy. Busy? Ava snapped. What kind of excuse is that? I don't know. Want me to burn their comment section? I snorted. Tempting. Ethan, this isn't your fault. You've always been the one holding things together. They just never saw it. Maybe that's the problem. I made it too easy to ignore me. Then stop making it easy, she said firmly. Stop waiting for them to notice. Her words stung, but they were true. So what, just move on? No, just stop bleeding for people who don't care that you're cut. I went quiet. Ava sighed. Come over later. We'll binge something stupid. Maybe. Promise? Yeah. After hanging up, I sat in silence. The hum of the fan, the faint chirp of birds outside. Everything felt detached. I picked up the phone again, scrolling through every photo like a punishment I couldn't stop giving myself. I zoomed in on one picture, Mom laughing while Dad poured champagne. She looked happy. Genuinely happy. The kind of happiness I'd never seen around me. Maybe I'd been replaced, or maybe I was never part of the equation. The thought made my chest ache. I opened my messages to Dad. Our last chat was 2 months old, him reminding me to focus on grades. I typed, "Hope the trip's fun." His reply came instantly. Always is. Hope you're studying hard, son. That single line. Not even a question about how I was. I turned the phone face down. My voice came out as a whisper. Guess that's my answer. Noah looked up from his cereal. You good? I will be. You sure? No. He grinned weakly. Honest. I like that. I laughed once, bitter and hollow. Honesty's all I've got left. I stared at the blank ceiling, the glow of the screen painting faint shadows on my walls. My family was somewhere warm, laughing, clinking glasses, pretending everything was perfect. And me? I was here, awake, alone, and finally realizing what it meant to be forgotten. For the first time, I didn't cry. I just stopped expecting anything. I whispered to no one. Maybe being invisible is easier than being unwanted. But deep down, something cracked. And from that silence, I felt something new rising. Small, but alive. Not hope. Not yet. Just anger. Cold. Quiet. Steady. The kind that makes you promise yourself, never again. Ava's voice filled the silence of my dorm room. Maybe it was a mistake, she said, watching me scroll through my phone like I was staring into a grave. A mistake, I muttered. They booked flights, packed bags, took selfies, and forgot one person. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. She sighed. I'm just saying, maybe they thought you couldn't come. I looked at her, eyes burning. Ava, they didn't even ask. She went quiet. The air between us felt heavy. I scrolled again, and that's when I saw it. Emily's latest post. An old photo from 3 summers ago. Me, her, and Liam sitting on the grass, laughing at something stupid. No caption, just the tag, Ethan Walker. I stared at it for a long time. Ava leaned closer. She's reaching out. Is that what you call guilt now? Maybe it's her way of saying sorry. I locked the phone and dropped it onto the table. Sorry doesn't fix years of being invisible, Ava frowned. What do you mean? I rubbed my face. You ever eat dinner at a table full of people and realize no one's listening to you? You talk, and it's like shouting into water. They laugh at jokes you didn't hear. You're there, but somehow not. She looked at me softly. Ethan. My mom would always talk about Liam's grades. Dad would joke about Emily's friends. Then they'd ask if I was doing okay, but before I could answer, someone would change the subject. I smiled bitterly. Sometimes I used to stop mid-sentence just to see if anyone noticed. Did they? No. The silence stretched. I leaned back on the couch. Last birthday, Mom texted me the next morning. Said she got busy. You know what they were doing that night? What? Hosting a dinner for Liam's college acceptance. Ava's expression hardened. That's awful. It's normal, I said flatly. It's always been that way. She reached for my hand, but I pulled back. Don't, I whispered. If I let you pity me, I'll start pitying myself. Ava lowered her voice. You don't need pity. You need distance. Distance doesn't change blood. No, but it changes how deep it cuts. I stared at the phone again. A new message popped up. My dad. Hope you're okay, son. 2 seconds. That's how long it took him to type it. 2 words that meant nothing. Ava saw my face. Who's that? My dad. Are you gonna reply? No. You should. I already did. Her brows furrowed. You didn't type anything. Exactly. She exhaled, shaking her head. You and your poetic silence. I smiled faintly. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could. We sat there quietly. Outside, the evening light shifted through the blinds, painting stripes across the room. Ava finally said, You deserve better than this. I know. So why do you keep checking your phone like they'll suddenly remember? I didn't answer, because I didn't know. Maybe part of me still believed they'd wake up one day and see me, really see me. But deep down, I already knew that hope was a lie. Ava stood. I'm making coffee. You want one? Sure. As she moved to the kitchenette, I glanced at the photo again. Emily's post had a few likes. Mom, Dad, Liam. The perfect little family reunion. I whispered, Why tag me now? Ava called out, What? Nothing. But my mind was far away, back at that dinner table, years ago. Pass the salt, Dad had said. I'd handed it to him. He didn't even look up. Liam cracked a joke. Everyone laughed. I'd smiled quietly, chewing slowly, listening to the hum of voices that didn't need mine. I'd wanted to speak, to say I got top marks that week, that my teacher praised my essay. But before I could, Mom had stood up to clear the plates. That was the night I realized silence was safer. Ethan! Ava's voice snapped me back. You're zoning out again. Sorry. She handed me a mug. You keep disappearing mid-conversation. Habit. Break it. I nodded, but my voice was distant. I used to think being quiet made me easier to love. Turns out it just made me easier to forget. Ava sat down beside me again. Then maybe it's time to make some noise. Noise doesn't suit me. Neither does being invisible. Her words cut deep. I looked at her. You really think they did it on purpose? Ava met my eyes. I think people don't forget the ones they care about. I swallowed hard. Then I guess that answers everything. The coffee was cooling in my hands. I didn't even taste it. My phone buzzed again. A new message from Mom this time. Did you see Emily's post? She misses you, I typed. I saw it. Then deleted it. Instead, I locked the phone and pushed it away. You ever feel like replying just gives them permission to keep hurting you? Ava nodded. Yeah, silence can be power too. I stared at the screen's reflection in my coffee. My face looked calm, but my chest was tightening again. Do you ever get tired of forgiving people? I asked quietly. All the time, she said. But then I remember, they're not sorry anyway. I let out a shaky laugh. You sound like someone who's been there. Oh, I've been there. Family, friends, all of it. Eventually you stop waiting for closure. You just close the door yourself. Her words hit me harder than I expected. Maybe she was right. Maybe I'd been waiting too long for people who never looked back. The sun dipped lower outside, throwing gold light across the room. Ava stood to leave. You should sleep. I will. Promise? Yeah. As the door closed behind her, the silence crept back, slow, familiar, almost comforting. I stared at my phone one last time. The unread text glowed faintly, then I turned it face down. For the first time, I didn't feel numb. I felt angry, sharp, alive, electric. Maybe anger was what I needed. Maybe that was what being seen felt like, finally noticing myself when no one else would. And as the night deepened, I whispered into the dark, if they won't see me, I'll make sure they remember me. I didn't call them again. I just watched. Every day, I opened Instagram like a detective at a crime scene. Screenshots, timestamps, captions. My thumb hovered over each photo, catching every detail. Their matching sunglasses, my dad's smile, mom's arm around Liam, fake warmth. Manufactured joy. Noah looked over my shoulder. You're still on that? Documentation, I muttered. Of what? Their selective memory. He raised an eyebrow. You're turning into an investigator. Someone has to keep record. He flopped onto the bed. You're keeping record of heartbreak, man. That's just self-torture. I didn't answer. My phone buzzed again. Mom. I let it ring out. Noah grinned. You gonna pick that up or just glare at it to death? I sighed. I'll call later. You won't. I will. He shrugged. Suit yourself. Just don't pretend silence is revenge. It's not. I stared at the screen until the call ended. The missed call notification glowed like an accusation. Later that night, Ava showed up with 2 coffees. You look like you haven't slept in days, she said. I haven't. You're spiraling again. Maybe spiraling's the only thing I'm good at. She sat across from me, serious. Ethan, this isn't healthy. Neither is pretending it didn't happen. You're documenting your family's vacation like it's evidence in a trial. It is, she sighed. You think screenshots will make them understand? No, I said quietly. But at least I'll have proof for myself. So I never gaslight me the way they do. Ava leaned back, eyes softening. You really think they don't love you? I think they love the version of me that doesn't need them. That shut her up. I took a long sip of the now cold coffee. Mom called earlier. I didn't answer. She'll call again. She already did. Twice. You're gonna answer eventually. I don't owe her that. She's still your mom, and I'm still her son, I said, sharper than I meant. But somehow that doesn't mean what it used to. Ava lowered her eyes. You're hurting. I'm awake. The phone buzzed again. Another call. Same name. I sighed, hit accept. What? Her voice came calm, sugary. Ethan, why aren't you answering? I was busy. With what? Being left out of another family event? She groaned. Ethan, we've talked about this. No, you talked. I listened. You always overreact, Ethan. The words hit like a slap. I didn't say anything. I just listened to her breathing on the line. You still there? She asked. Yeah. I just wanted to check on you. Now you do. Don't start. I'm not starting, Mom. You already did. She sighed. You know how your father is. He makes these decisions quickly. We didn't mean... Stop saying that. Say what? That you didn't mean it. You meant all of it. Every picture, every caption, every lie about being together. You meant to move on without me. Her voice cracked. Ethan, don't talk like that. Then stop giving me reasons to. Silence. Then a quiet, you sound angry. I am. You need to control that temper. I've been controlling it for 21 years. She paused. We'll talk when things calm down. Click. I stared at the phone until the screen dimmed. Ava's voice broke the silence. She didn't even try to understand, did she? No, I whispered. She tried to win. Noah poked his head in from the hall. That sounded rough. It's fine, he frowned. No, it's not. Ava looked at me. You're allowed to be angry, you know. I know. Then stop bottling it. I'm not bottling it, I said, standing up. I'm preserving it. There's a difference. Ava followed me to the window. Preserving it for what? I met her eyes. For when I need it. She looked almost scared. You sound different. Good. I turned back toward the room. My laptop sat open. On the screen, folder names blinked. Vacation proof, messages, ignored, birthdays. Noah whistled. You're really going all in, huh? This is the only way I can see it clearly, I said. I've been inside their world too long. Now I'm outside looking in and it's disgusting. Ava crossed her arms. You can't heal by keeping score. I'm not healing. I'm remembering, she shook her head. That's not strength, Ethan. That's pain in disguise. I smirked faintly. Then pain looks good on me. Noah threw a pillow at me. You sound like a villain origin story. Maybe I am, I said. Maybe that's what they created, he chuckled. Dark, poetic. I like it, Ava didn't smile. I don't. I sat back down, rubbing my temples. You know what's funny? I used to think sadness was the worst feeling in the world. But it's not. What is? Being numb. That's what I've been. Sadness means you care. Numb means you gave up. Ava's voice softened. And now, I'm angry. That's progress, she studied me carefully. So what's next? I'm moving out, I said suddenly. I can't stay here anymore. This dorm still smells like waiting. Where will you go? I'll figure it out. Noah leaned forward. You serious? Dead serious, he grinned. Finally. My dude's choosing chaos. Ava shot him a look. He's choosing freedom, I nodded. Exactly. The room fell quiet again. Outside, cars hummed and the air smelled faintly of rain. I stared at my reflection in the window. Tired eyes. Clenched jaw, but sharper somehow, Ava said softly. You're not the same person who called me crying last week. I'm done crying. Don't lose the good parts of yourself in this. I'm not. I'm just done performing for people who don't applaud, Noah chuckled. Write that down. That's gold, I smiled faintly. I already did. My phone buzzed one last time, Mom again. I watched the name flicker on the screen, then fade as the call timed out. Ava asked, You gonna answer? No? Why not? Because this time she'll feel what silence sounds like. I sat there in the glow of the city lights, a strange calm washing over me. Not peace, something harder, anger, steady and focused. I didn't need their approval anymore. I didn't need their excuses. For the first time, I wasn't begging to be seen. I was learning how to disappear on my own terms, and somehow that felt like control. Weeks slipped by like water through my hands. Every morning I checked their pages even when I swore I wouldn't. The captions had changed. No more sunsets or beaches, just a new post. Home sweet home. There they were again. My family, laughing in the kitchen. Same smiles, same house. Just not the same for me. I told myself I didn't care anymore. But the truth? I still did. When Mom's name lit up my phone, I almost ignored it. Almost. I forced my voice steady. Hey, Ethan! Her tone was overly bright. We're finally back. I saw, I said quietly. Looked nice. Oh, it was lovely, she said, almost sighing. You would have loved the food. The sunsets were unreal, I bet. A pause. So how's school? Fine. You sound tired. Guess I am. Well, she said lightly, maybe you needed some rest. I mean, we thought you'd rather stay with your friends than join us. Something inside me cracked. For a second, I couldn't even speak. Then I said it, low but clear. You never asked, sorry. You never asked, I repeated louder. You assumed. You always assume, her voice faltered. Ethan, that's not fair. No, what's not fair is acting like I chose to be left out, she exhaled sharply. You're making this bigger than it is. I'm making it exactly what it is. Ethan, no, Mom, listen to me. My voice trembled, but I didn't care. I've spent my entire life being the afterthought in this family. You talk about everyone else like they're the story and I'm the footnote. Don't say that. It's true. She went quiet. I saw the posts, I said. You looked happy. We were, she whispered, as if realizing too late what that meant. I laughed softly. Yeah, you were. Ethan, please, this isn't... Do you even know what my favorite food is? What? Just answer it. Of course I do. Then say it. She hesitated. A lasagna? Liam's favorite. Not mine. Silence. I pressed the phone harder against my ear. You don't know me anymore, Mom. Maybe you never did. That's not true. Then tell me when you last asked how I was doing. Really doing. Her voice cracked. I don't know. That's the point. I could hear her breathing unevenly. You sound angry. I am angry. Because I kept waiting for you to notice me. But you didn't. You never do. Ethan, please. No, you don't get to please me now. You already decided I wasn't worth asking. I didn't mean... You did, I cut in. You always mean it. You just don't say it out loud. Your father wants to talk to you, she said suddenly, voice brittle. Of course he does now. Don't be disrespectful. Respect goes both ways. I heard muffled movement, then Dad's voice, deep, calm, detached. Ethan. Hi, Dad. I hear you're upset. I'm not upset, I said. I'm disappointed, he sighed. You're overreacting. There it was again, that word, overreacting. The trigger buried in every childhood argument, every dismissed feeling, every unspoken goodbye. Don't, I whispered. Don't say that. Say what? That I'm overreacting. Then stop acting like we abandoned you. You did. His silence was long and heavy. Finally, he said, We love you, son, but you have to stop taking everything so personally. I laughed bitterly. Love isn't something you post about, Dad. It's something you show. We can talk about this when you've calmed down. Yeah, I said, voice shaking. That's what you always say. When I'm quiet, you ignore me. When I speak up, I'm dramatic. I can't win with you. He didn't respond. Nothing to say? I asked. I don't want to argue. Then maybe you should have invited me. I ended the call before he could reply. For a few seconds, I just stood there, breathing hard, the quiet ringing in my ears. My reflection in the dark window looked unfamiliar, like someone halfway between grief and fury. The phone buzzed again. Mom calling back, I stared at it until the ringing stopped, then it started again. This time I answered and said nothing. Ethan, please don't hang up. Why? Because I love you. Then why does it feel like you don't? Don't say that. I already did. You're our son. Only when it's convenient. Ethan, click. The sound of disconnection was louder than her voice. I dropped the phone onto the desk. My hands were trembling. I didn't know if I was angry or sad or both. Maybe both had merged into something darker. I picked up the phone again. The lock screen showed my family's photo from 2 years ago. Christmas dinner, fake smiles, forced cheer. I stared at my own face in that picture, eyes dull even then. Then, without thinking, I threw the phone against the wall. It shattered, a sharp crack echoing through the room. Noah rushed in. Dude, what happened? I sank onto the floor, chest heaving. I just ended a conversation I should have had years ago. He glanced at the broken phone. That bad? Worse, he sat beside me. You want to talk? No. Want me to get Ava? No, I just want to stop feeling like this. He nodded quietly. Then maybe you needed to break it. I looked at the cracked pieces on the floor. Yeah, maybe that's what it takes to destroy something before you can stop worshiping it. The silence stretched. I could feel tears threatening, but none came. I'd cried too many times before. This time it wasn't rage burning in my chest. It was mourning. Not for them, for the version of me that kept hoping. I whispered to myself, It's done. Noah asked, What is? The illusion. He frowned. Of what? Belonging. And as I said it, I realized how light that truth felt. Heavy, but freeing. I wasn't part of their picture anymore. And maybe that was okay. I stood outside my parents' house longer than I should have. The lights inside were warm, but none of it felt inviting. I hadn't been back since everything fell apart. Since the call. Since the silence that followed. When I finally knocked, the door opened almost too fast. Ethan, Liam said, forcing a smile. Didn't think you'd actually come. Neither did I. He stepped aside awkwardly. Mom's in the kitchen. Dad's, somewhere. The air smelled like cinnamon and denial. I walked in, eyes drifting over the walls. Frame after frame of perfect moments. Birthdays, holidays, vacations. All smiles. All of them. None of me. I stopped in front of a photo from last summer. Greece. The beach. That same laugh I'd memorized through pixels. I muttered, Guess I didn't make the cut. Liam shifted uncomfortably. It's not like that. Then what's it like? He hesitated. Mom didn't mean, don't, I said quietly. Don't make excuses for her, he looked away. You know how she gets. Yeah, I said. I do. Emily peeked out from the hallway, eyes wide. Hi, Ethan, I nodded. Hey, she didn't move closer. Just stood there like I was a stranger at the door. Maybe I was. Mom's voice called from the kitchen. Ethan, is that you? I swallowed hard. Yeah, she appeared, wiping her hands on a towel, smiling too brightly. Look at you. You've lost weight. Guess stress burns calories. Her smile faltered. Don't start with that tone. I didn't realize there was a tone limit. She sighed. Can we just have one nice evening? I stared at her. You mean like the ones you already had? Without me? Her lips pressed into a line. You're still upset. I'm still excluded. Ethan, please. Mom, I said. Let's not pretend. You left. You didn't forget. You chose. Enough, Dad's voice came from the dining room, calm, cold. Sit down, both of you. I turned. He stood there in his usual button-up, unreadable as ever. Dinner's ready, he said. I followed them to the table. The silence was thicker than the air. The clinking of cutlery sounded like distant thunder. Emily picked at her food. Liam glanced between us like a referee. Mom spoke first. So, how's school? Fine. That's good. Another long silence. Finally, she said, You could have joined us, you know. If you cared enough to ask, I froze mid-bite. Excuse me. She met my eyes. We assumed you were busy, but you never reached out either. It goes both ways, Ethan. I laughed, low, bitter, hollow. I wasn't invited. That's not true. Then why didn't anyone call? We didn't think it mattered that much. It mattered to me. Everything can't revolve around your feelings. And yet everything always revolves around Liam's. I said before I could stop myself. Liam groaned. Don't drag me into this. I don't have to. You're already in every photo. Ethan, Dad said sharply. That's enough. I looked at him. No, it's not. Watch your tone. I've been watching it my whole life. Hasn't helped. Don't disrespect your mother. Then maybe she should respect me first. Mom slammed her fork down. You think we did this on purpose? That we just sat around planning how to hurt you? Maybe not, I said quietly. Maybe it's just habit. Her face twisted. You've always been dramatic, and you've always been dismissive. Dad stood.
This conversation ends now. I stayed seated.
Of course it does. Because it's not about you. His jaw tightened. You're angry. I get that. But you're not being fair. Fair? I repeated. You want fair? Fair is being told the truth. Fair is being treated like part of the family. Liam muttered. Can we not do this right now? I turned to him. You're quiet now, huh? You were loud enough in those videos. Ethan, stop! I can't, I said. Because if I stop, I'll start forgiving you again, and I'm done doing that. Mom's voice shook. You came here just to attack us? I came here to see if I still belonged. I got my answer. She blinked rapidly, trying to keep her composure. You always twist things. No, Mom, I said softly. You do? The table went still. The tension was suffocating. Finally, Dad sighed. Maybe you should leave. I stood up. I was planning to, Mom's voice cracked. Don't do this. Do what? Tell the truth? Walk out, she said. Again, I laughed under my breath. You kicked me out long before tonight. You just didn't notice. Liam stood. Ethan, come on, man. Just sit down, please. I can't. I don't fit here anymore. Emily whispered, Ethan. I looked at her softer. It's not your fault, Em. Mom's eyes were glossy now. Where are you going? Away, I said. Before I start pretending again, Dad said quietly, You'll regret this. I met his eyes. Maybe, but at least it'll be my choice. I took one last look around the room. The photos, the spotless table, the familiar walls that never felt like home. I won't beg for a place in my own family, I said, and I walked out, not slamming the door, not yelling, just leaving because this time I wasn't angry. I was done. I didn't post for weeks after leaving home. I just existed, quietly, simply, breathing in the silence I used to fear. Then one morning, Ava said, You need to show them what peace looks like. I don't need to prove anything, I muttered. It's not about them, she said. It's about you. We were sitting in a small cafe near campus, sunlight spilling over the table. I stared at the latte art in front of me, a perfect heart that would vanish in minutes. She held up her phone. Smile. No. Ethan, come on. I gave her a faint smirk. She snapped the photo before I could stop her. When she showed it to me, I almost didn't recognize myself. I looked calm, not happy, but peaceful. Caption it, she said. I thought for a moment. Peace tastes better alone. Her grin widened. Perfect. I hesitated before posting it. Then I hit share. By the time we left the cafe, The likes had started rolling in. Old classmates, cousins, even an aunt I hadn't spoken to in years commented, "Proud of you. Ethan, you look great." Ava glanced at my phone. "Oh, they're watching. Who?" "Your family." Trust me, I tried not to care. But part of me hoped she was right. That night, I checked the notifications again. One comment stood out, and from my mother's cousin, finally seeing Ethan smile again. "He deserves it." I knew that would sting back home. Ava texted me later. "You started something without saying a word. I didn't reply." But I smiled. Days turned into weeks. I poured myself into classes, projects, anything that kept my hands busy. Professor Hayes stopped me after one lecture. "Ethan, you've changed." Focused, determined. "What happened?" I shrugged. "Life, I guess," he smiled. "Good, use it. Pain makes excellent motivation if you don't let it consume you." His words stuck with me. For the first time, my anger wasn't eating me alive, and it was fueling me. Ava noticed it too. "You're sharper," she said one night while we walked back to the dorms. "Sharper?" "Yeah, before you wanted them to understand. Now you just want to move forward." "I guess I've finally stopped expecting apologies." "Good," she said softly. "That's when you start winning." One afternoon, while I was studying in the library, a notification popped up. A message from Dad. "Let's talk, son." I stared at it for a long time. Just 6 words, like nothing had happened. Like months of silence could be undone by a text. Ava, sitting across from me, saw the look on my face. "What's wrong?" I turned my phone toward her. She raised an eyebrow. "You're kidding." "Nope. What are you gonna say?" I typed slowly. "Maybe next vacation." Her eyes widened. "Savage." I hit send before I could second guess it. We both stared at the screen, waiting. No reply. Just that little delivered mark glowing like quiet satisfaction. Ava whispered, "That's your revenge right there." Feels weird calling it that. "It's revenge without words," she said. "The best kind." The next day I noticed Mom's Instagram. She'd posted a family picture, just her, Dad, Liam, and Emily, same stage smiles. Caption, "Nothing stronger than family." The comments weren't what she expected. "Where's Ethan?" Didn't see him in the last few posts either. "Hope everything's okay." Ava sent me screenshots with a devil emoji. I replied, "Karma moves quietly." She texted back, "And it always hits right where it hurts." I didn't post anything after that. I didn't have to. Silence did the work for me. At university, things shifted. I was suddenly noticed, not for pity, but for presence. Professor Hayes nominated me for a writing grant. My project was titled The Art of Being Unseen. When he read the proposal, he said, "It's raw, personal." "It's honest," I said. "That's what makes it powerful." Ava clapped when he left. "See? I told you you'd use it," I laughed quietly. "Guess pain pays off," she tilted her head. "No, growth does." Weeks later, I got another message from Dad. "Your mother's worried. Call her." I didn't. A day after that, "We saw your post." "You look good," I typed. "Thanks," then deleted it. Instead, I put the phone face down and got back to work. There was a strange satisfaction in my stillness. I wasn't chasing attention anymore. I was attracting it by walking away. Ava called it poetic justice. I called it peace. One Friday, I sat again in that same cafe. The same table. The same sunlight. But something felt different. A group of classmates waved at me from across the room. I waved back. It hit me. I wasn't the invisible one anymore. Ava joined me with her drink. "You seem lighter." "I think I am," she smiled. "You did it, you know." "Did what?" "Broke the pattern. They don't get to define you anymore." I looked out the window. It's strange. They tried to erase me, but somehow I became louder by staying quiet. That's what happens when truth doesn't need an audience. I nodded. "And maybe that's the real revenge." She lifted her cup. "To peace that pisses people off." I laughed, clinking mine against hers. "Cheers to that." Later that night, my cousin messaged me privately. "You know your post caused a storm, right? Your mom's furious. People keep asking where you are." I typed back, "Tell them I'm fine." Just finally visible. Then I muted every family group chat. No anger. No guilt, just silence. The same silence they once gave me. Only now it was mine, and for the first time it didn't feel empty. It felt earned. It had been months since I last heard their voices. Months since I'd stopped checking for messages that never came. Life had become simple. Quiet mornings, lectures, late-night laughs with Ava and Noah. I'd stopped waiting. That was the difference. It was a Friday when it happened. I was sitting outside the university cafe, surrounded by a few classmates, laughing about something stupid Noah had said. I almost didn't notice the black car pulling up near the courtyard. Then I heard it. "Ethan?" The sound of my name froze the air. I turned. Mom, Dad, standing a few steps away, dressed too formally for a campus visit. My chest tightened, but I kept my face steady. "What are you doing here?" Mom smiled weakly. "We were in town. Thought we'd drop by. In town?" I repeated. "That's a long drive for a coincidence." She flinched a little. "We wanted to see you." Dad nodded, hands in his pockets. "We thought we could talk. Maybe clear things up." I stared at them both. "Now you want to talk?" Ava glanced at me, whispering, "You okay?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "I've got this." Noah stood beside me, arms crossed, watching them like a guard dog. Mom looked around awkwardly. "You have friends. Shocking, right?" "Ethan," she said softly, "please don't start." "I'm not starting," I said. "You are," Dad sighed. "We didn't come here to fight." "Then why are you here?" "To reconnect," Mom said. That word. Reconnect. Like plugging back in after cutting the wire themselves. I tilted my head. "You had months to reach out." "Why now?" Her eyes watered. "Because we realized we were wrong," I laughed quietly. "No. You realized I stopped caring." "Don't say that," she whispered. "You're still our son." "I know," I said. "But that doesn't mean I'm still your version of him." Her tears spilled then, streaking down her face. "We didn't realize how much we hurt you." I met her gaze, calm. "You realized?" "You just didn't care then." She covered her mouth, shaking. Dad looked uncomfortable. "Ethan, your mother's trying to fix her guilt," I said. "Not the past." "Enough," he said firmly. "No," I replied. "I've been quiet long enough." Students nearby pretended not to stare. "I didn't care." "You built a family I didn't belong in," I said, voice steady. "And now you're surprised I stopped knocking on the door." Mom took a step closer. "Please don't shut us out." "You already did that for me." Her lip trembled. "I'm sorry." The words sounded hollow, like an echo in a place too late to matter. I shook my head. "Sorry doesn't undo erasure." Dad rubbed his temple. "Can we at least sit down?" "No," I said. "You've already taken enough of my time." "Ethan, I'm not angry anymore," I said quietly. "That's what you don't get." "I don't hate you." "I just don't need you." Mom sobbed openly now. "You can't mean that." "I do," I said. "Because needing you was what kept me small, ignored, invisible." Ava touched my shoulder. "Let's go," she whispered. But I didn't move. Dad looked at me hard, like he was trying to find the old version of me in the new one. "You've changed." "Finally," I said. "That's what growth looks like when pain stops being home." He didn't reply. I could feel the tension crackling in the air, heavy and final. Mom whispered, "Please come home." "For dinner, at least." "We can start over." "I don't need to start over," I said. "I already did." "Ethan." "No." My tone softened, but it was final. "You made your choices, and now I'm making mine." Dad muttered something under his breath, but I didn't care to catch it. Mom reached for me. "Can I at least hug you?" I stepped back. "You can try again when it doesn't feel like a performance." Her face crumpled. "You don't mean that." "I mean every word." Silence stretched. The world around us moved on. Laughter, footsteps, chatter, but we stood frozen in our own storm. Finally, Dad spoke. "We'll give you space." "You already did," I said. "Too much of it." They turned slowly toward the car. Mom glanced back once, eyes red, expression unreadable. I didn't wave. I didn't speak. I just watched them go. When the car disappeared around the corner, Ava exhaled. "You okay?" "I think so." Noah smirked. "You handled that like a movie protagonist." I laughed softly. "Felt more like the ending of one." Ava looked at me. "You didn't let them break you this time." No, I said. They can't. Not anymore, she smiled. That's growth. Or survival. Same thing, she said. Later that evening, my phone buzzed. Liam, you were right, bro. We messed up. I stared at the message for a long time. Ava noticed. Who's that? Liam, what did he say? I read it aloud, and? She asked. I locked my phone. Nothing. I'm not replying. She tilted her head. You sure? Yeah, sometimes silence says everything. She nodded slowly. I get that. I leaned back in my chair, feeling the quiet settle in my chest. It wasn't heavy anymore. It was steady, solid. For the first time, silence didn't hurt. It healed, because silence was no longer what they gave me. It was what I owned. I looked out the window at the darkening sky, my reflection faint in the glass, older, sharper, unbroken, no words. No apologies. Just me finally seen by myself a year. That's how long it's been since the storm ended. I live alone now. Small apartment, cracked walls, quiet mornings. The kind of place that feels more like mine than anything ever did before. Most days, I work, study, and sometimes meet up with Ava or Noah. But lately, it's Clara who's been around the most. She was an old friend from school, someone who knew me before I started disappearing. We met again by chance at a bookstore downtown. She'd smiled like no time had passed. Ethan Walker? I almost didn't recognize you. Guess I learned to smile since last time, I'd said. Now, a few months later, she was sitting on my couch, legs crossed, holding a mug of tea. You actually drink herbal now? She teased. I'm evolving, I said. She laughed softly. You seem lighter, different. I am. Because of them? No, I said. Because I stopped needing them. Clara studied me for a second. That's heavy. It used to be. She leaned forward. Do you ever think about them? Sometimes, I admitted, but not the way I used to. It's quieter now. My phone buzzed on the table. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. A notification from Instagram. New post, The Walkers. Clara noticed my expression. That look says trouble, not trouble. Just ghosts. I opened the post. My family at the same house. Same smiles. Same captions. But this time, I was tagged. Clara peeked at the screen. They included you. Yeah. And? I stared at it a moment longer. Then I locked the phone. It doesn't hurt anymore. She tilted her head. Really? Yeah, I think I finally get it. Get what? They'll always be my family, I said. But I finally belong to myself. Clara smiled faintly. That sounds like peace. Maybe it is. The room fell quiet. The kind of silence that doesn't feel empty. Just calm. Clara set her mug down. So what happened to all those screenshots you used to keep? You know, your evidence folder. I laughed softly.
You remember that?
Of course. You showed me like a lawyer presenting a case. Yeah, I was obsessed with proof, I said. Proof they hurt me. Proof I wasn't crazy. And now, I unlocked my phone again. The folder still sat there, vacation proof. I opened it, scrolling through the screenshots, each one a frozen moment of pain. Mom's posts, Dad's messages, all of it. Clara watched quietly. You don't need that anymore. I know. I selected them all. Delete, a small confirmation popped up. Are you sure? Yeah, I whispered. I'm sure. The screen went blank. Clara smiled softly. Closure looks good on you. I exhaled, feeling something lift from my chest. You know what's weird? I thought deleting them would hurt, and it didn't. It felt clean. She leaned back. That's how you know you're healing. I nodded. It's strange. For so long, everything I did was about proving them wrong. Now I don't even need them to see me. Clara looked thoughtful. Maybe peace isn't loud. Maybe it's just not needing applause anymore. I smiled. Yeah, maybe. She stood and walked to the window. Come on, she said. The sunset's insane right now. I joined her. The sky was painted in gold and violet, the kind of beauty that doesn't try too hard. She glanced at me. You ever miss the version of yourself that used to beg for love? Sometimes, I said. He meant well. He just didn't know his own worth. What would you tell him if you could? I thought for a moment. That silence doesn't mean they win. It means you finally stopped fighting for scraps. Clara smiled. That's beautiful. I learned it the hard way. We stood there quietly for a while, watching the sun sink below the skyline. The city hummed softly beneath us, life moving on as it always does. After a moment, she asked, "You okay?" I turned toward her. Her hand brushed mine, warm and sure. "Yeah," I said. "For the first time, I really am." She smiled, and I realized that peace didn't look like forgiveness or revenge or even closure. It looked like this: a sunset, a heartbeat, and the quiet understanding that I'd survived the worst parts of being forgotten. The phone buzzed again. Another message from home. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. Clara looked at me, curious.
Aren't you going to check?
No, I smiled. Some things are better left unread, she nodded. You really changed. I had to, I said. They taught me what silence felt like. Now I use it for myself. The last of the light faded. She leaned her head gently against my shoulder. Peace suits you, she whispered. I smiled. Took me long enough to find it. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't waiting for anyone to notice. I wasn't proving or defending or begging. I was just existing, fully, freely, quietly, and that was enough.